Question, Chief?
Yes, sir.
You know that the asset value at the top here is 10,000, that was changed to 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This form comes directly from the state.
Okay.
So that's, again, everything here is over 25 anyway, so.
Yeah, okay.
Again, fire department is very capital heavy. As far as everything just costs extremely absorbent amount of money. Anytime you put a public safety label on it, it just becomes extremely expensive. So basically, as you know, for FY25, town meeting approved the purchase of a new ladder truck, passed that for debt exclusion at the May ballot. So the debt exclusion has been secured, the funding has been secured. The town treasurer collector will borrow the money 6 months prior to the delivery.
Okay.
So the bonding will take place 6 months prior to the delivery. And right now it's scheduled for first quarter of 26. So we would potentially be borrowing summer of 25 time, like this time next year, basically. Again, the first payment or the first bond payment would be due the following fiscal year, which is actually going to line up very well as debt service is coming off. This will replace, so it should be a very low or no impact on the tax rate.
Well, that's what we hope for.
Yeah. So everything's lining up very well.
Okay.
We're within budget. So there should be no surprises. Everything has been secured. I think we'll be in a fantastic shape. As you know, we did apply for a federal grant. We have until September 30th. The federal government obviously closes their books on September 30th. So all federal grant awards have to be out by the 30th of September.
Okay.
So we've been patiently awaiting. Every Friday they get announced. They come in dribs and drabs. We were able to secure last month a $100,000 grant for new portable radios for the fire department. So we were able to replace every portable radio within the fire department. They didn't show up on your capital plan because they're under $5,000 each.
Yeah.
But this is one targeted number that we were able to knock out and get that done through federal funding.
How many of those do you have?
26.
One for each person?
So basically the way it is every seated position in the fire apparatus that wears a self-contained breathing apparatus
Yep.
has a portable radio.
Okay.
So anytime you go into a hazardous environment, a burning building, whatever, you have access to a portable radio with you. So they're not assigned to individuals personally to hold on to.
Yeah.
They're always readily available at the fire scene to be used.
Do they have a number to them?
Yes, they're all.
Well, the reason I'm saying, if they
Yeah.
go into fire and they have that, how do you know?
Yeah, so
if
they're,
somebody's
so
talking-
each seated position in the fire apparatus is given a number.
Okay,
And then your ID, when you arrive on scene, you tag in with the vehicle, and then you know which seat you were on the vehicle. And then when you key the mic, it will actually come up on the display on everyone's portable what seated position is talking.
okay.
So that's how we track on scene. And
Okay.
keep track of that.
What's the life expectancy of these? I know
Radios?
it's granted, but.
Yeah, radios are 10 years.
Okay,
Yep. The radios we currently have now, we received a federal grant back in 2013, and that's how we got the original batch. And so
Okay.
they've aged out, and now we're replacing again. So,
okay. So, starting off the new year, you saved us $100,000.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. The one thing that's been on the capital plan for several years, that basically needs to be looked at with part of a bigger plan or whatever, is a feasibility study for the existing public safety building, more or less the fire department side. Everyone in town, sees the building. Everyone just assumes back in 2003 we built a public safety building. We really didn't. We added a police station onto a 1975 fire station, and that 1975 fire station mechanicals runs the rest of the building. So when the building was brought to town meeting back in 2000, it was $1 million over. I think it was about $1 million over budget, and it was a true public safety building in that design phase. More. It was basically a full second story on the building, more office space for police and fire, but due to the budget concerns, and they went through, they cut the square footage of the building, they cut it right back in order to what the town could afford. The building was built. And here we are, less than 20 years later, running out of space. At the time when the building was built in 2003, there was no accommodation for any full-time 24-hour fire department staffing. So there are no female locker rooms, female showers. They share the men's locker room and men's showers. Basically, they utilize the space, they lock themselves in, and they do what they need to do. And the building was never designed for accommodating any type of 24-hour staffing in that facility.
Back then, if I can ask you, back then, Chief, were you on the verge of 24-hour staffing? You can remember
In
that?
2000, again, that's prior to my time here in town.
Yeah.
I was chief of the neighboring community at the time. Rutland had just started with full-time staffing during the daytime, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And no one expected that, it was about 12 years after the building was built, we were at 24-hour staffing. Whether they just, thought we would be able to delay. The former chief thought, we potentially may need a second fire station down by Four Corners. So maybe the thought was to put, housing down there. But overall, it needs to be looked at, not only just for the fire side, but I know the police are just as crammed as well.
Yeah.
So.
There's so many things going on, which I'm sure you're.
Oh, absolutely. We understand,
No,
other town facilities.
In terms of the police station, cramped, in terms of dispatch, where we've got a chance to have the state build a dispatch for us, so do we go ahead and build and extend it? And we're not getting a lot of answers on that.
I agree. Yep. Yep.
So, and I think from a capital standpoint, that's been one of our reservations about moving forward on this. Spending $1 million for a plan and then having it fall apart because other things got changed.
Right. No, I agree.
So,
yep.
It's not that it's been left off it, it's just
Right.
that's some reservation we have.
I know at the state level, there's been many bills filed to establish a public safety building assistance program similar to the school, how the school buildings were funded. There's a lot of push to start a program specifically for public safety buildings throughout the Commonwealth. So again, if that moves forward in a positive light and gets funding and the mechanism in place of how they want to handle that, and there'd be some cost sharings between the state and the town. Again, in order to qualify as a project, you have to basically have made a shovel-ready project with, and that's where the cost is so expensive upfront.
Right.
But they want to make sure, if they're going to invest in the community, they want to make sure that the community's invested in itself as well. So that's where that's at. So again, that's our biggest building need.
Have you, pardon my question.
Sure, yep.
Have you thought about where the fire station should be?
Well,
because we're running out of space there.
Sure. Yep. There is some talk internally that, do we stay as a public safety building? Or does the police build a new facility and we take over the whole building? We don't need really more apparatus garage space. We need more administrative space.
Which is cheaper.
Yes, correct. So again, dispatch potentially may move out in the short term. We may buy some time by taking over that small space.
Yeah.
So we may be able to alleviate maybe buy 5 years of time out of this. As we look at senior center and town hall and all that stuff first.
Possibly another school building.
Correct. Yep. So. So that's where we see it. I don't see this community needing 2 fire stations.
West Rutland, for example.
Yeah. It would be, yes, it would be nice. But we wouldn't have the full-time staffing to be able to staff both buildings. It does not, make sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Have you thought about, or got estimate, what it would cost if we didn't build a new fire station, $10 million, but rehabbed it?
I couldn't give you that answer.
Okay.
you would need an architect to really come in and look at it and determine what the current building codes are, what needs to be rehabbed and redone. And then they would come up with a square footage dollar amount and be able to put a cost estimate together based on
That's part of the feasibility?
Yeah, yeah.
What about the upstairs? Being just recently involved over the last 15 years of this stuff, you hear a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
is it a storage place up there that could be converted, isn't
Absolutely.
it? I mean,
The whole second story of the addition to the police station side is a wide open space. The drawback to it is the building was never built with elevators. So basically, it's just a very high staircase up to the attic space. Could it be converted to office space? Yeah, sure it can. It could be a combination of storage, office space, and could be done, I think, for relatively cheap money.
but it wouldn't be a habitat.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. You couldn't have sleeping quarters up there because there's no second egress other than the windows. So you need,
No pole?
no pole, no. So again, that could be a project that is done by Baypath. Because the sprinkler system's there, it's fully sprinkled on the second floor, so that part is done. The HVAC system can be expanded, or you can put mini splits in the spaces that are up there. We have plenty of power in the building. We're 600 amps, so we have more than enough.
Okay.
So the ability to do something up there is possible because, we talk about, the elevator issue is as long as the space isn't made for meeting with the general public. You meet with them on the first floor, but if you're a police officer and firefighter, you basically can climb stairs. You pass the physical ability and, you can meet the requirements of the job, so you can climb some stairs.
Okay.
So we could get away with it.
That would be shared with the police?
You could.
No, I'm just saying, is
Yep.
that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or just
Yep.
fire?
No, you could share it. There's plenty to do. You could do that. You could free up some space downstairs. So, there's an office now that was originally intended for the fire department, but it's been taken over by the detective's office and the police lieutenant, just because they needed privacy to do their detective work and stuff like that, which we totally understand. But
But that was a
unfortunately,
mutual agreement.
it was, oh, absolutely. But the problem is that my office and his office is right in the police station. And we hear.
Yeah, I know.
We hear everything that goes on. We hear stuff we don't wanna hear. They're counting evidence and, going through stuff and the stuff that we shouldn't see and we shouldn't even be anywhere near. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're right in the middle of it. And if the fire department staff needs to come down to see us, basically it's a whole process for them to become, they have to be fingerprinted, gone through FBI, background checks, everything in order for them to access us
Yeah.
as, department heads. So it is a process.
Okay. 10 million, that number's been on the books for a couple of years now.
Yep,
Really not realistic.
I don't know. I don't know what the
Oh.
number would be.
Okay.
I know what other projects in the area have been costing, and I
It's
couldn't-
more than 10.
It could be,
Yeah, okay,
yeah, it actually absolutely could be.
okay.
But again, I don't know what can be done with the space that is there and how it can be reallocated and reused, or are we just adding on to the building?
Yeah.
So again, we need a professional to make that determination.
So this 10 million is not for rehabbing, it's for putting on in the building?
I think it's a combination of both,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the ideal thing would be to put a second floor over dispatch, and then the second floor of the police station would be able to access the second floor of dispatch and then down into the fire station. So the police could have the whole dispatch first floor and all of, we could move out of the police side.
Yeah.
And then we would basically get the whole second floor and up.
Okay,
That would be the ideal.
okay. Is there any state code or law requirement that says your fire station's too old,
No, no.
other than code requirements?
Yeah, as long as it meets, current building code and, safety requirements, which it does.
Okay. But the 1 million's part of the 10? When you
No,
talk-
the 1 million is on top of the 10.
Okay, did I miss it here somewhere?
Oh, no,
Oh,
one
it's-
is, yeah, so it's 1 and then 9 for the construction. yes.
Okay.
Sorry, yes.
Okay. Any questions for Seth on this? Okay. That was the big one. The next one, let me get my list here, let me see. Okay, that was for a second. You're talking about the ambulance replacement.
Yes, so right now we currently, in our fleet, we have 3 ambulances. We have 2 primary ambulances, and then we have a third as our backup. We run them 5 years frontline, 5 years as secondary, and then 5 years in reserve. So they age out at 15 years. So basically, they're high-speed operations really for the first 10 years. And then they go into reserve status for the last 5. And the reason why we do that is for the last several vehicles that we've replaced, the trade-in value has been less than $10,000 to trade in the ambulance. It costs us $300 to keep it on the road every year. So, for instance, one of our 2 frontline ambulances goes down for service. It's out of service for a week. Then we move the reserve one into the rotation. All it has to do is 1 ambulance call and it made $2,000. So we recovered what we've kept it on the road for, and we've also be able to maintain revenue generating and also be able to provide service to the community. The scary part is if one of our frontline ambulances were to get into an accident and be totaled, there are no demo available on the lot ambulances you could buy, and we could be without an ambulance for up to 2 to 3 years before a new one could be replaced. So having the third, just in case something catastrophic happens, not only is protecting our revenue source, but is also allowing us to continue to operate and meet the demands of the community by providing the service as well.
How many communities do we serve now?
We have primary and contracted with the town of Ocam. So it's just basically all of Rutland's residents, all of Ocam's residents. We are contracted with the State Police Academy in New Braintree. So when they run a police academy out of New Braintree facility, any of the cadets get hurt or anything like that, they have their own state police ambulance.
Yeah.
But now that Mary Lane is closed in Ware, everything is transported to Worcester. So we intercept with them, provide paramedics and advanced life support for them as well. There's reciprocal with other towns, right? Correct. There's mutual aid agreements with every surrounding community, plus all of Massachusetts. Our ambulances are part of the statewide ambulance task force. So anytime there's a major incident, whether it's a nursing home, hospital, or a large-scale apartment complex that needs multiple ambulances immediately, we could be dispatched anywhere in the Commonwealth.
Anywhere in the Commonwealth?
Anywhere in the Commonwealth, yes. Yep. So, and again, if we needed the assistance as well, they would be coming to us as well. So.
Does it cost? I'm sorry, Chris, you got a question?
Oh, I just had 2, so.
Yeah.
In the sheet, you say purchase 2013, but then last major improvement 2018. What was that?
Yeah, so in 2018, basically it's a air-ride suspension system. And because of corrosion, everything, we had to replace the air compressor and a bunch of components in that to keep it operating.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And then I know you talked about, how long we might be with that one if heaven
Yep.
forbid
Yep.
1 or 2 is totaled.
Right.
I know with the fire truck, we're talking, 2-3 years to get
Yeah.
one. What's
Yep.
the timeline for an
So
ambulance
what
right
we're
now?
looking for right now, and the reason why this is kind of odd is the replacement cycle is not to FY26. And years ago we could go to town meeting in May, order it the day after town meeting, and we would have it by Christmas. That's how it used to be. Now, after COVID, everything, Right now, the build time on the ambulance is 3 years. So in order for us to contract to start the build process for a new ambulance, we need town authorization, town meeting approval. We don't need to spend the money, but we need the approval in order to sign a contract and bind the town monetarily. So what we're looking for is to go to the annual town meeting, ask for the approval to purchase a new ambulance, knowing that we're not gonna be paying for it for probably 3 to 4 years.
Is it really gonna be that long? Because I
Yeah.
go back to the fire truck.
Yep.
We thought it was gonna be 2 to 3 years, and it's looking like it might be a year and a half to 2 years.
Well, town meeting is 24,
Yeah,
and we're going to see it
26.
26.
Okay,
Yeah, so still 2 years,
all right.
you know. Again, that's projection now. And again, I don't see it being any sooner than that,
Okay.
but,
I'm just looking at debt level. And
Oh, I agree. Yep.
That comes on,
yep.
you know. Okay.
And again, the last ambulance that we got in 2021, we got through a federal grant. And we leveraged our partnership with OCAM as a shared service, expanding, service.
Yeah,
That contract is up this year. We're renewing the contract for another 5 years. And so that document holds a lot of weight with the federal government, and we will be reapplying to replace the ambulance again.
okay.
But again, it just we basically have 3 years of grant cycles to apply. But we just need the authorization to order
Okay,
in May. That's what we're looking for.
okay. And what happens at the end of 15 years with that third cycle ambulance?
At that point,
It's off the road?
if they want to give us a couple $1,000s for trade, let them take it. If the DPW wants it to take the box off and put a flat body on it, that's up to them. To us, it has no value.
But I mean, is it serviceable after 15 years?
Not as an ambulance, no.
Okay,
Yep. Yep.
so it has to come off the road?
It has to come off the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is that time frame if you order the new ambulance?
That's why we're asking for the authorization at town meeting, so that when it comes to delivery time, it falls in place of our normal replacement cycle.
So you don't end up with two?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still trying to space them out that 4 to 5 years, every 4 to 5 years,
Yeah.
we're constantly doing it. And so that's what we're trying to do, is maintain that distance. If we know we're gonna be 2 to 3 years out before we see a new ambulance, then we need to order it now. So that's what we're
Okay.
trying to do.
Any questions for Seth and Chief Seth?
No, that's fine.
I think, on this? I have one more question.
Sure.
What's the revenue stream from an ambulance? Because I'm looking at, here's what it costs.
Sure.
Here's our revenue stream, and if you could give me the bare bones
Sure.
of what Medicare doesn't pay. throw that out.
Yeah. In round numbers, town sets its rate schedule, and so each year we bill according to our rate schedule. Last year we billed $1.4 million in charges to individuals. But due to Medicare and Medicaid, there's contractual allowances that, just like you ever open a doctor's bill and you see a credit and stuff like that, because that's, so Medicare will pay what's reasonable and customary, and they reduce it down to their amount. That reduction is not a write-off to the town, it's just a contractual allowance adjustment. So after you take all those adjustments off, and what is paid, we collected $640,000 in revenue last year. So after contractual allowances of about 500, we collected 650, where our average collection rate is about 85 to 90%. And again, how do we recoup that other? It's very difficult to do that. I'm not going to go after a resident. They're paying taxes. Taxes are supporting the system. It's a shared system amongst all of us. And, people traveling through town, we may or may not get them. People die, the estate doesn't pay, so those are the type of things that get written off. So,
As you know, I'm a numbers guy.
yep,
So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, it's gonna cost us 600,000 for an ambulance. Yes, no? 500,000.
yep,
But we're gonna spread that out
correct,
over probably 5 years.
correct. That's what we've done in the past,
All
yeah.
right, so 5 years, that's about $1.50 a year.
Yep,
And we're collecting 6.
yep.
Does the labor cost of running that ambulance chew up the rest?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think if we're at a net here or in a,
A municipal animal service will never be profitable.
I don't want it to be profitable.
Okay.
I want it to make sense.
Oh, it does. Yep.
Okay.
You could never hire a private company to come in and do what we do.
Okay,
You never could. We are a dual service fire department. We are firefighters and paramedics, so we're dual purpose. And, we don't have a cost center that, 50% of your time is allocated to the town, 50% of your time is paid from ambulance revenue. All of the ambulance revenue goes to the general fund and just gets put into the pile of all the money, and then just gets, appropriated out from there. There's no mechanism to hold any money back for capital purchases in the future, the way our system is currently set up. So, as the revenue comes in each month, it is counted as a local receipt and is used the year that we're currently in. So, we estimate that it's gonna be 600,000 in revenue each month, each year, and that's what we book as far as what we expect for revenue coming in. That's what the budget's built on, and then as the money comes in, it's going into the general fund every month, so.
could you speculate or estimate what you think is the net cost of running that ambulance service? Once you factor in, and I'm not talking about benefits, I'm just talking
Yeah.
about wages.
Yeah.
Okay, forget the benefits.
Yeah, it covers probably half of, the fire department budget's $1.6 million, and we're taking in 600,000. So if you were to cost our labor rate out half and half, we're probably covering half the labor cost.
Okay,
Not the expense side.
Right.
But, yeah, our labor cost is 1.2 million.
yeah.
And we're getting
And
600,000.
I'm not picking on the fire, I'm looking at all the other departments in town.
Sure.
In terms of grants
Yep.
and revenues and all that stuff that comes in, what is a net cost to that department?
Sure, yeah.
And
Yep.
yours
Yep.
is pretty low in terms of net
Yeah.
cost when you look at
Yep.
all this stuff that
Yep.
comes in, that's sort of,
Yeah.
and the ambulance is a big part of that revenue stream
Correct.
for you.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yep.
you might get a little from mutual aid and
Yep.
all that
Oh,
other
absolutely.
stuff you do, but.
Yep, town Ocam pays us an annual fee, plus we bill the residents of Ocam. So, we're getting a contractual amount each year from them as well. We just don't have the opportunity to show it at town meeting. Is fire department's 1.6, here's the offset of 6,
Right,
the taxpayers paying $1 million, We don't have that opportunity to show it like that. But I think the residents understand how the system is working, and it's been working since the early 70s. It's always been set up this way, and this is how it's always done.
okay. So the bad news is we need an ambulance. The good news is that if our one ambulance goes down, we have a backup, but that backup's only gonna be so long if we don't have an ambulance there.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah. Yeah. It's just like having a police cruiser. It's something that just, I know Margaret had talked about, when she was here, of, if we're replacing one every 5 years, then why aren't we just doing a lease purchase for 5 years and just build it into the operating costs, just like we did with the cruisers. It's just an
I
operating
know,
cost.
I know, that was a nightmare initially until we did that.
Yeah, exactly. But, when Margaret was here, it was $230,000 for an ambulance. That was an easier, $80,000 a year was a lot easier
And
than
we
now.
only had 7,000 people in there.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so your estimate is top of the line, 500,000.
Yeah, and I've been working on getting quotes and firm numbers right now, and what other towns have just contracted with, 500 is the number.
That includes soup to nuts, everything from putting tires on it,
Oh,
having
yeah.
it built, to having it signed,
Yeah.
all that stuff?
Yes, yeah, lettered, basically, we just throw our equipment on it and we're out the door.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Any questions for Chief? I think he's given us some good information.
Yep.
Yeah.
The rest
Very
of the,
clear.
yeah, the rest of the stuff is future years, that is being proposed. And again, we update this as we get more information. We update the pricing on future years, each year that we renew this. In FY '27, there are two items. One is the cardiac monitor and one is the Lucas CPR machine. We just had our cardiac monitors serviced by the manufacturer last week. These cardiac monitors can do everything from 12 lead EKGs to cardiac pacing to cardiac cardioversion. It's crazy. It takes your blood pressure. It does end-tidal CO2. It does pulse oximetry, and it's able to transmit that information to the hospital.
Is this the portable that goes into the house?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It
does
look
say-
familiar,
Yeah.
that's why I
Yes.
said that.
The manufacturer's come out with a new version of this. It's just hit the streets on ambulances this year. And the question I had to the service technician that was in is how much longer are you going to continue to support with, replacement parts and serviceability of the current models we have? So next year you may see this moved out because they're still waiting on an answer on how much longer they're going to continue the service. We have an annual service contract with the manufacturer for both of these units. It's an exorbitant amount of money.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna ask you to explain that a little more.
Okay, so we are required by the Department of Public Health to have a manufacturer service contract with any type of medical device. The reason for it is they have to come in and calibrate it, make sure that the EKG is correct, that it's taking the blood pressure correct, that the information that we're getting out of the machine meets the standard and is calibrated, and we get a sticker on it, and that's what DPH, when they come in and do the ambulance inspection each year, is looking for to make sure that device is up to date and meets the current requirements. That service contract, we have 3 of these cardiac units, we have 3 of these CPR machines, we have 3 electric power stretchers. Okay, all by the same manufacturer, so there's one contract for all 9 of these pieces of equipment. It's $14,000 a year for a service contract.
Does that include parts?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It includes parts and batteries,
Okay, labor, everything?
everything.
Okay,
So I'll be honest with you, the cardiac monitor we have, one of the cardiac monitors we have now, is probably the original shell, and everything in it has been replaced at least once.
wow.
So whether it needs a new screen, a new circuit board, whatever, they just come in, they just rip it out, put all new parts in. There's a newer version of the monitor that it used to be monochrome. Now it's in color. So now you can see waveforms and different things much better. So that's the benefit. Is if we drop it and break it, they come out and fix it. So these are very expensive pieces of equipment. They cost a lot to maintain, but when you need it, they absolutely save lives.
If you didn't have the service contract, what do you think it would cost to do the same service work?
In the batteries alone, I bet you I would probably be spending $5,000 a year just in batteries for these units.
Okay,
So I couldn't tell you what the parts cost because I never see what the pricing is of parts.
okay.
We did go several years without our stretchers part of the maintenance agreement. We had a hydraulic pump fail on the power stretcher. The pump alone was $10,000 for the pump.
Which was covered under this?
No, it wasn't, because we did not have it.
Oh,
So that's when that was my determining factor. I'm like, we gotta have service contract on these as well. So that's why we bundled it all together. So.
would you speculate that if we didn't have the service contract and something failed, and it was a major item that wasn't operable, could the town be at risk if you don't have that available when you transport?
One, you couldn't operate an ambulance without this on it.
Oh,
The ambulance would be completely out of service.
okay,
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to allow to, run the ambulance.
all right.
It's a required piece of equipment that must be on the ambulance in order for us to operate. Again, the life expectancy of these are probably 10 years. And then the question comes, do we think about replacing these one at a time when we replace the ambulance and bundle it with an ambulance cost? So again,
So we're replacing it about every 5 years? Or are you using that one and stepping it down?
So,
and stepping-
so there's 3 ambulances, there's 3 monitors, there are 3. So basically, they would last 15 years. They would go the whole 15 years out.
Okay.
As long as they were continually supported, they would last. So basically, the problem is we bought these bundled together all at the same time.
So your advice is, if possible, every time we need an ambulance, we get a brand new one
Yep.
of these for the ambulance?
Yep. And roll it into the cost.
If we buy a brand new one with this ambulance, and 6 months later, they change to a whole new, brand new unit,
They've already done that.
oh,
Yeah.
no, I mean manufacturer.
Oh, they've already done that.
Oh,
The new unit is on the street now.
Okay.
That's why these are, we don't know if they're gonna continue to support these for the next 5 years, or the next 3 years. I don't know.
Okay.
So that's the decision we need to look at,
okay,
so.
all right. And approximate cost 90,000 per?
With 30,000 each,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
with
So
30,000
you want to
each.
replace all 3 of them at the same time?
Because they're all the same age,
Okay.
yeah, that's the problem.
I'm just trying to think, if we rotate them out every 5 years,
So
what would be the cost? I'm
So-
trying to think in terms of how do
there's an
we-
ability for us to go to 2. Because if the third ambulance is a spare, it does not have to have it because it's not accessed and used at the paramedic level daily, like the other 2 are.
I guess I'm trying to think, Seth, of how we can work this into a capital budget where we buy one this year with the ambulance.
Yep.
And then then we don't need that third one that we
Right.
have.
Yep. And then
And are those units newer, or you say they were bundled at the same time?
these were bundled at the same time.
So, do we take a chance and
Yep.
say, we get one now,
Yep.
30,000 with the ambulance, and then 3 years out, if they discontinue these
Yep.
items, we're gonna have to buy a new one,
Right,
which won't be with an ambulance.
right.
But it'll spread that
But it'll be
money.
a smaller amount at
It'll
that
be a
point.
smaller
Yep.
amount.
Yep.
Does that function in your life?
Yeah, it does. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
And the same with the CPR machine. We do the same thing with that as well. Because as we replace ambulances, every new ambulance comes with a brand new stretcher. So we're already kind of doing that,
yeah.
as far as, that type of equipment. So,
Again, I like your idea. I'm trying to get on that
sure, yep,
simple process thing
Exactly.
that,
it's one vote, it comes fully equipped, and you're out the door.
Of course, the CPR machine, what we got, 2020, is
Yeah.
there any resale value, or if you
No,
get a new one and you don't
right
need a
now,
fourth one at that point?
So, these were staggered out over, these were not all bought at the same time. So, one we got from the town of Ocam. How we ended up with the third ambulance is when we took over Ocam 5 years ago, we brought in their ambulance as part of our fleet. We maintained it. This piece, the oldest one, was on their truck. This was a capital request several years ago, back when Mitch was here. We were able to get grant funding to get the last
Right.
2. So every ambulance had one. Again, if the new ambulance is gonna be here for 3 years, we could probably replace the oldest one at 3 years. These have not been discontinued. There's no newer version of this, so there's no worry about, as long as the battery's good and it's serviced, then we're good.
So we'd only need the cardiac machine, we wouldn't need the CPR machine then?
Well, if the
With the
ambulance would
new
be here in
ambulance?
3 years, we'd probably need one of them. Yeah, so it could be part of the rotation with the cardiac machine and.
Yeah, I'd like to see if we can set that up in some kind of
Yep.
rotational
Sure.
OLED.
Yep, yep,
So again, the Lucas replacement would be the same thing.
Same
There's
way.
3 of those.
yep,
And those are 20,000 each.
correct, yep. And again, as these things come closer, these are very capable of grant funding. These are very, that's how we were able to get them the last time, was through grant funding,
So is it better to apply for 60 with a bigger grant or?
No, they rather have you do,
As necessary?
as necessary, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
Okay. Does everybody know what that Lucas replacement does? Why he's requesting it? No? Okay.
if you go online and watch YouTube, pull it up on YouTube, you'll watch the videos of it. It's a barbaric. If you watch it, it's pretty, if you're not in the medical field and you see this thing, doing CPR compressions on someone, the benefit of it is we're 30 minutes to the hospital, and try doing CPR in a moving ambulance for 30 minutes. It's not as effective, it's not as, you're not getting the right depth, or like quality, and you're not maintaining the optimal compression rate for optimal survivability. This machine basically straps onto the backboard and it's set up, and you set it up and you press a button and it goes. Benefit of it, as you're moving the patient into the hospital or you're moving the patient out of the house, you don't have to stop compressions. It will continue to do it. As the paramedic is doing other skills, medications, EKG stuff, all that stuff, it frees up a set of hands to be able to do other advanced skills.
I can only speak from personal experience that when I was in the ambulance, I didn't need this, but the EMT who was taking care of me, a car pulled out in front. Ambulance got slammed hard, they stopped, and he got thrown.
Oh, yeah.
So if he was doing chest
Oh,
compression,
yeah, yeah.
forget it.
Yeah.
You were off rhythm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 20 grand on that. How old are these, did you say so?
They're not all bought at the same time. These are
Okay.
spaced out. I think the oldest one now is probably 6 years old. And then probably 6, 3, and then I think we got one last year. So
Life expectancy?
again, probably 8 years. Yeah.
Chris, Sue, any questions for you sure not gonna softball him so we can get pushing him and see things?
Yeah. You can interject anytime you want, so. And the remaining items basically go FY '28 and beyond.
Okay,
So, and again, these are all, the only one that is a hard number is the SCBA replacement in FY '28. That is a end-of-life situation. They're only good for 15 years. We bought these in 2013 through a federal grant. This again is eligible as of January. They'll be eligible for us to write grants against this again.
okay.
They
What's
have
the-
to be so many NFPA standards out of date in order for the federal government to allow them to be replaced under their program.
Is this what we see them wearing when they're going into a fire?
Correct. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so does the tank attach to this, or
Yep.
this is the tank?
No, the tank attaches directly to this.
Okay,
Yep. This is an NFPA and OSHA requirement. This is something that must be provided to all firefighters on the fire ground. And again, it's not a life expectancy, it's a hard cutoff at 15 years.
okay, okay. And every member of the department who is fire?
Nope.
Okay,
And they are required to be in every seated piece of so
Okay.
anytime there's a seat on a fire apparatus, there has to be a SCBA available. for that
so
seated
if the
fire.
fire truck goes out, it's gotta have everyone. What about the ambulance?
Ambulance is not required to have one, but we
Okay.
carry them on it,
Okay.
yes, because the ambulance could arrive second, you know, coming back from the hospital. So,
Okay.
yep.
Oh, my favorite topic, car replacement.
Town has about a car in I don't know how many years.
Thank God. Oh, we bought you one not too long ago.
Yeah.
About 5 years ago. 4
Oh, no, that was a grant.
Oh, that was a grant?
That was a grant, yes. Yeah, that's what he's driving.
So are we trying for a grant on this one again?
We always do. And, you know, I'm always very good about
I'm
coming
curious
here.
about how many different funds are out there that you apply for grants for the fire?
It's all about creative writing.
I mean, this one, this one, this
Yeah.
one, yeah?
So that's my specialty.
Okay.
is I enjoy writing grants and I find funds and,
And will the deputy chief be creative?
oh, I think he's actually better suited than I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you go back for just 1 minute?
Sure.
Did you say these have to be on the fire trucks?
Yeah, so any seated
Every
position.
seated position.
Yep. Yeah, so if the fire truck carries 6 people, it must carry 6.
Okay.
Yep.
They're also checked annually too, like the Lucas and everything else.
Yeah. So,
And with there's not a huge lead time or anything.
no, those are pretty standard. Those aren't a long lead time. Yeah, and then, you know, it's the pickup truck, and then not until 31, which I'm definitely gonna be way long gone retired.
Chief, can you explain to the board or to the community?
Yep.
Why we're paying luxury prices for a chief car?
It's
What's
on-
so special about that?
Well, you gotta remember that it's not a luxury vehicle, it's
And I
what is
say
available on the state bid list.
Price-wise, tongue in cheek, okay, I don't mean to
Well,
be facetious.
To be honest with you, the vehicle itself is in the low 40s. But there's $10,000 in radios and another $10,000 in emergency lighting updating.
So everything goes through your console, so to speak,
Everything.
yeah.
Yep. I push a button, all the red lights come on. I have, you know, the radio equipment I can talk to people in Boston. I have a command console in the back, so when you flip up the back tailgate, all my gear's there, it's all stored. I have whiteboard pull out for whiteboard to, you know, track and command and control of the fire scene. The radios have dual heads, so not only can I talk in the front, but there's also a dual head in the back, so when I'm running the fire ground, you know, the radio head is in the back as well. Yeah, so that's basically fully upfitted, and it's really not much more than what a cruiser's costing now.
Is this kind of mandated by state? A lot of the stuff that goes into your car is like state mandates?
If you want to be effective and provide operational safety and accountability on a fire ground, you must have this.
Okay. For example, now, if we're called to the fire, you go out on the fire, and we get other communities there,
Yep,
you're running the thing,
correct.
and pretty much this is your command card with all
Yep.
that stuff.
Yep.
If you ever look at any pictures or videos, there's always a guy in a white helmet. He's in his trunk, and he's writing, mix matching things. He's the guy orchestrating the show.
Okay,
And that's basically what the car is.
Yep.
okay. So the car alone basically is 40,
Yeah.
kind of bare bones car, except for air conditioning, it's got all that stuff.
It's
on
nothing crazy, it's basically what a commuter vehicle you would buy. We don't buy the police interceptor vehicles. I don't need the high performance, I don't need the expensive braking, I don't need any of that. Basically, just a basic Explorer, you know, that you would buy, you know, for your personal use is all it is. It's
So we're
nothing.
buying the equipment, pretty much.
It's the equipment that costs almost as much as the vehicle.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah. And again, these vehicles are lasting 10 years, so
Does the equipment inside last that long, or is?
Yes, the equipment lasts the whole 10 years, and then every time we get a new vehicle, we just replace the equipment, so everything is current.
What do you do with the vehicles? You trade them in?
They trade them in, or they become surplus town vehicles.
But I mean, with all that equipment on, or you strip it
Yeah,
off?
well, the last vehicle I had went to the dispatch director, and because they run the communication system, we left the existing radios in it, he used it. That vehicle was actually auctioned off, Tamika had just auctioned it off.
Yeah.
And he took possession of a hand-me-down cruiser and basically transferred some of the equipment and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so at 10 years, it's end of life, front line for us, but it could be passed down to inspectional services, it could be passed down to, other town, use as well.
How many miles you get on that usually?
We
Over the
average,
10
we
years?
average only 10,000 miles a year. So it'll be under 100,000 at 10 years for us.
And so I assume that being serviced, the engine's still in decent
Yep.
shape?
Yep.
Couple of tire changes, some
Yep,
basic stuff?
yep.
No rot on the frames, things like that?
The last one, the first one we bought in 2012, that ended up being replaced at 10 years because of body rot. That was just completely gone.
I'm trying to get a sense of the service cost of this thing.
It's probably less than $2,000 a year.
Okay.
Yep. The most expensive thing that we probably do every other year is probably tires. Oil changes twice a year because we're not doing a high mileage.
Yeah,
And probably every 3 years we do brakes.
okay. I noticed we have two cars out there.
One's his, one's mine.
Did he get the hand-me-down?
He did.
Okay. We're not looking for any one of those, because if yours goes, if we buy one for you, then he would get the hand-me-down, or no?
No, he'll get the new one when I retire.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any questions on that for Seth? And we got a truck in 2028. I don't know
Yeah,
if we have to worry about that.
That is used by the on-duty shift officer. That vehicle is probably used as much as an ambulance.
What's it used for?
It goes to every single call, 24 hours a day.
Fire or ambulance and
Both.
everything?
Both.
And whose truck is that?
That is the on-duty lieutenant or captain,
Whoever is on duty.
who's ever's on duty, the senior officer on duty. That's their vehicle to respond in. Since we've had 3 people on 24 hours a day at night, we have not had, years ago, there used to be only 2 of us on the overnight. And we were plagued with injuries on medical calls. Because not only are you carrying all this heavy equipment, now you're carrying a patient down the stairs, whatever. Now that we've had 3, we have not had any back injuries, anything like that. So we've been very fortunate to reduce our risk liability by having a third person. Third person responds in this vehicle and is available to be redispatched to any secondary call that may come in, and they'll meet the second ambulance on the next call. So that's how that works.
What does it haul? What do you put in this thing?
Basically, it has everything that they would need to run a scene if they got there before we did.
Okay.
It tows the dive boat. It tows the side-by-side UTV. It tows the hazmat trailer. It tows, basically anything we need towed. This is the vehicle that tows all that.
Also has a plow too, so
What's that?
it has a plow, so any inclement weather we can gain access to a scene.
Yeah, I think we just bought you that. You just got the plow, right?
No, that was DPW.
No, but I thought,
That was DPW. That was not us. The plow came with this truck in 2018.
because you had requested it because you wanted to clear the roads for the house so you can get in
No, no,
versus
no.
waiting for DPW to?
So we plow the public safety parking lot.
Oh,
The DPW does not. So this vehicle is doing all the plowing,
Okay.
public safety, police side, fire side, everything. And if we arrive on scene of a medical call that the driveway's not plowed out, they will plow it out to get the ambulance in, due to our safety.
okay, so you don't really plow out driveways?
No,
I thought that was one of the.
no.
Okay.
No.
And why doesn't DPW take care of you?
They were short-staffed for so long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't a technical thing.
No, it was basically, it was just lack of manpower. They would always plow at the end of the storm, like they plow the school parking lots and town hall parking lots. But the problem is, we're on, Main Street, the state plows will put a ginormous,
Yeah,
snowbank in front of us that it's hard to get through, so. Yeah, we'll keep it open, they come through with the loader and push everything back when they're done, so.
okay.
Yep.
Any other questions on this stuff?
It's pretty well explained.
What's that?
Pretty well explained.
Yeah, I just have one question, it's kind of a crazy question. When it comes to ambulances, do you guys say, we got better ambulance than you? We got a better ambulance than you? We got a better team than you?
No.
Yeah,
It's, they may be bragging rights on, who has the better color scheme or, who has,
yeah,
we all do the same job. We're all here to support the community that we serve. And, we're all family when we're at the hospital and, you see, your counterparts from other communities at the hospital and we share stories and, stuff like that. So it's a unique field to be in.
yeah.
And we all share the burden equally.
Do you really treat it as a brotherhood?
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. You remember, these people are spending more time at work with each other than they're really spending with their families. They live in the station for 24 hours. They're, breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. So they see each other at the best and worst. So it's.
Okay. So no other questions from at this time?
No?
Chief? All right, Deputy Jim, really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Happy to come.
giving us a jump
All right.
on this kind of stuff.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, I thought this was probably one of the better presentations of what we got.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. Let's jump back to old business. Chris, you had, I had put down report on posting of minutes, because I had stopped into the clerk's office, and at that time, I had asked them, because I had gone over the list to review our minutes, and no minutes were posted for us. So, you wanna kinda help?
Yeah, I was able to get in touch with Anita. She did find the email. She has posted everything through, everything's up to date with the exception of the July minutes, and then we just approved the August minutes. So basically, we've got 2 to post, but we're well within the time range.
I tend not to keep a lot of paperwork, and so if I wanna review a minutes, I wanna go back and pull it up, and I was frustrated I couldn't get there, so that's been taken care of. Okay. Dan, you wanna talk a little bit about the letter?
Yeah, so did you get the draft that I sent you yesterday?
No, I didn't get it on my phone. I was looking for it today.
I sent it yesterday.
Okay. Which email did you send it to?
So I initially accidentally sent it to your town of Rutland one, so then I forwarded it to the Gmail.
Okay. Looking here again. On my. Okay.
Let me just re-forward it, just so it's at the
Just go
top.
back to the town of Rutland.
Should be at the top of your Gmail though.
There it is. Draft correspondence sent out, yeah, September 11th. I got it. Okay.
I mean, if it makes, I can just send it to everybody if,
Why don't you do that?
you know.
I like your
It's been a
language.
little
It's been
dicey.
in and out, right?
It's in
Yeah.
and out.
What's that?
The Wi-Fi's been in and out, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I,
that's okay.
I like your legalese language, certainly 100 times better than what I would have said, so.
Alright, everybody should have it now.
take a minute or two and go through this. I like it. I like it. So if we could, Chris, we get a chance to see it. I would like to have a hard copy, we all can sign it at our next meeting and forward that to the select board. Very good. Thanks, Dan. Any changes or anything anybody wants to make to that or suggestions?
No.
Okay. I think this requires a motion, so I would like to have a motion made that recommends we adopt the draft language for the CIPC bylaw changes to the select board for their input.
I'll make a motion.
All you have to do is say so moved if you don't want to repeat it.
Okay, so moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, here we go. Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote?
Lopez, aye.
Gracie, aye.
Second, aye?
Boris and I.
Okay, so moved. So we'll have this done, printed at the next meeting where we can sign it then. Okay. Good. All right. Discussion of committee member assignments, that was just a kind of review, where we are, the things we have, so we can, as we're looking at these things, looking when the stuff came in place, what got approved, where the money is, did it get spent, didn't it get spent, so, I mean, tonight was about the chief, but I think other meetings are gonna be about getting into more detail about the, about our job as select board member, select board, capital improvement planning members. Do you have any discussion on that, or comments on your assignments? Sue, you want to describe a little bit about what you did and where we stand?
Yes, I guess in terms of the formatting, I don't know if that's easy for the committee to read, or do you need it presented in a different
No, I
form
just want
as
you
I
to
get more
talk in
information?
general
because-
about what you did, where we are, because you're looking at stuff that's been already approved, but hasn't,
Right.
we don't know if it's been finalized or spent yet.
Right, so,
Okay.
much of the information I was able to get, they were pretty helpful in terms of trying to get what has been approved and what the final cost was, so, I mean, from back in '22, it looks like we have some numbers to work with based off of that. I'm still waiting on a few things. I did hear from Austin, so I do have some ARPA updates that I can add to this. I don't know what the typical numbers are that you get.
We don't, what I'm looking at, and other members can chime in, what I'm looking for is, we approved a certain number, what it actually cost. I'm trying to get a grasp on how accurate that information coming to us is when we make a decision. So if somebody's gonna cost 20 and it actually comes in at 45, something's not right there. It should have been a lot more accurate than that. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So you have those numbers.
Right, so I guess it just begs the question, and I'm not exactly sure how to read this, because it seems like it's quite a differential between what seems to be
Give
proposed.
us an example.
22, the replacement of a heater, it was 20K. Article 12 read it at 90. Am I reading that correctly?
I don't have that in front of me. Hold on a second.
If I start in the back,
Article 12 related to the replacement of the library heater?
just the first item.
That could have been, because the heating, I think was the heating units are up on the top? Or are those the air conditioning units? I don't know why it would be 90 and it only, because there were 3 units.
I guess that's what I
don't know why
didn't
article
know.
approved 90, but we only spent 20.
Right,
You bring that up, we'll need to look into that.
and it's the same with
Okay.
a lot of these numbers.
I'll look into that. Maybe you and I can talk a little offline
Okay.
on this so we can get a better handle on it.
Sure.
Okay? Structural repairs, the library roof, 25K. I think the 25K was for each unit. So that
Okay.
would equal the 75, but
Okay.
we'll look at that.
Okay.
New plows for DPW, 10 grand, it came in at 9, yeah. We don't have to worry about 10 grand anymore. New van for animal control officer, 45K. Do you know if that do they have it now yet, the animal control officer? Was it bought? Do you
I'm
know?
waiting. No, I haven't been able to get that information yet.
Okay. All right, so
That's what I'm
maybe,
digging into a little bit more.
yeah, that would be
For some reason, I thought that was purchased.
animal control. I
Yeah.
think that was through the police department.
Yeah.
So then,
That would
I
be
guess
through.
it's like, who am I asking? Maybe I'm asking
Animal
the wrong
control didn't
people.
get a new van, they got a new SUV though, so.
That's
I
a
thought
cost
that
check.
might have
Maybe
been
that's
like a
what I'm thinking
grant,
of.
or, I don't know if that was a grant, but they definitely have a brand new SUV.
Yeah, and I know I saw the truck out, the animal control truck. It was a van. I've seen it around town, but I don't know if it's a brand new one, if that's what they bought. But I don't know why they'd have an SUV. New van for animal, I don't know. I know stepping down the next one, we'll look into the animal control.
Okay,
The police chief has control over that, because she's an officer
okay.
of the court, so to speak, so she has authority. In fact, I just saw her the other night at the animal hearing, so I could have asked her, okay. Breathing air compressor, that I know they bought. I don't know for how much though. That would be the chief. You could ask the fire chief on that.
Okay. Who's the police officer you just referenced also?
Chief
Monaco.
Monica.
Okay.
And
You can
again,
email him. It
Austin.
might take him a week to respond. They'll start back.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't want to trouble these, but it's good getting these guys to know if we need stuff following up what's gonna go on. I'm hoping Austin could answer it for us, so maybe you could try him first and see, but
Okay.
I don't think the chief would have a hard problem getting back to you.
Okay.
Woodhouse structural repairs, 35, article was 50, and they actually came in at 35, Sue?
How I'm reading this, this is based off of what was provided to me, what was put forth or requested. That's how I read it.
Okay, so the article said we're gonna give you 50, and then who did you talk to about this?
That
Did you
was
get that from the
Anita.
treasurer? From
Yes, I got it from Anita. Carlson,
From
and then,
the treasurer?
correct,
Okay. We're gonna have him come in at some point, because he needs to tell us where the debt structure is, how much
Okay.
bonding we can do, when we start making an analysis of how these things are gonna be paid for, so he'll come in then.
okay.
And in the meantime, maybe I can fire off a quick response, or a quick question to him. Can he be a little more specific on certain items that you had requested, a member of the committee? Sewer truck, Article 23, 111,587. Came in at 91. Or did we approve 91? That was 2023.
See,
Yeah,
I'm reading
well,
this
okay,
as,
so-
I'm reading this as they asked for 91, the article said 111, but we don't know how much it actually cost, cause 111, 587 would have been approved at annual town meeting on
Right.
5/6/23 as Article 23, but we don't
I think the
have,
91 is what we had as what the
As what
anticipated cost was going to be.
Right. So we're talking roughly $20,000 more.
More.
well, we
That's
approved
how I-
20 more, but we don't know what it actually
Well, that's my,
cost.
right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, are we doing things now and it's like, we'll do this because nobody's checking on us? You know, and that's why we wanna do that, so Sue, you and I can get together and maybe review some of these things,
Yeah.
get a little more clarity for you.
Sure.
Okay. 5-ton dump truck with sander and plow, 50K,
Mhm.
I don't even know if we got that. Purchase a street sweeper, yeah. That is 258, we didn't get that. We approved the 1.85 million. I think I heard Seth say it might come in even a little cheaper than that. Did I hear that? Or,
I didn't hear that tonight, but.
Oh.
I don't
it'd be
think he
nice.
said the final cost tonight. He talked about when it would be showing up, when it would be going on the books, but I don't think he said the actual amount.
I didn't hear it.
the custodial cleaning van for 45, I know they got the new one. I don't know if it's received yet, but I know he ordered it.
Okay.
School security systems, again, in talking with Austin at select board meetings, those are in the process, so they will be done, because they're in the process of being done now.
Glenwood, I think, is done, right? Not active yet, but installed.
And yeah, I think it's installed but not active
Yeah.
yet.
Which is Naquan?
Glenwood Elementary.
Yeah. Yeah. We are the poster child for the security system for the district. Because Wachusett went out and did it and didn't have a sophisticated system as we have. What we did. So we kind of got ahead of them that. Okay. I know I threw this at you, Susan. I
Mhm.
apologize if
I
it
wanna make
wasn't
sure I'm
clear.
Getting the
You-
accurate
you-
information that
yeah.
you want, like,
Right.
so
You
maybe
and
a
I,
bit more
we'll spend
clarity
some
on
time
that.
working on that before the next
Okay.
meeting. Okay, but it's a good start. It's a good start. Okay. Moving on, any questions for Susan on this? As far as Britton's assignment, he did get from the treasurer a list of all the assets that are insured by the town. And that gives us, again, some good information when we come decide replacement values, what are we gonna do, repairs on items, things like that. So that will have, in the next meeting, we can talk about that. ARPA funds is a very unique animal in that the town really has no bearing on it because it was I don't know how to say this. There was a committee established as to how the ARPA funds would be spent. And for example, the ADA compliance at community center, 290K. I don't even know if that was all done. Do you know, Paul?
I don't know that it's all done or not, I know it was a work in progress the last I knew.
Yeah, same here, so those are the little things we'll follow up on. So as we get this under control, Susan, going forward,
Yep.
it'll be a piece of cake for you.
Okay.
All right. New ladder truck, no big deal, okay. Any other questions about those? Now that we have stuff to work with, we'll have hard copies the next time. New business. Well, we did the review with Knight. Report and discussion with DPW Director Kolofsky regarding sidewalk, plow machine, and salt shed. He's hoping that the salt shed, which is on the list, is gonna be paid for by Chapter 90 money. That it won't cost the town anything to do this. And he's thinking of adding on to the salt shed that's already there, because he said there's really nothing wrong with that one. It's just it doesn't have the capacity. He says through the year, if we have substantial storms, that's a half a year of salt in that shed. And then we have no place to store it in, we gotta order a whole new coming in at the time, and we could run out and not have it, so that's why he's wanting a new shed. And that will be something he'll talk about on the 10th. He did put down here a sidewalk plow machine. You know what those are, right? Little things. He goes, we have one, but it's really, we're trying to keep it together. It's so old. So he says he's looking for a new one there, and he said something about it. I said, well, what about the street sweeper and that? He says, oh, if I have to, I'd push for that snowplow, because we need to get that done. We got more complaints for streets not being plowed, for sidewalks not being plowed. So that's something he'll talk about when he comes up to the 10th, because that will be our next meeting. Anything, any other business you want to bring up that hasn't been discussed or presented? Make my job easy, come on, help me out here. No? Anything that needs to be on the next agenda item, next meeting's agenda, that we'd like to add on here?
Just real fast, while looking through Susan's thing, I know last year we had recommended the sidewalk and parking lot, but that never made it anywhere.
No,
Are they gonna request that again, or are we gonna move that forward to this year's
Well,
request?
when I saw Chris Kolofsky, he said that he was so busy that he hadn't had time to really put together, but he's gonna have it together for Austin. So we'll know that if that's on there or not.
Wasn't there a request through the school though?
What's that?
I said I thought the sidewalk and the parking lot reconstruction was on the school.
I know, but
That was for
I
the
thought
preschool.
Chris was overseeing the project.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I'd have to, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll ask Austin
Okay.
too. I was so unfortunate he couldn't be here. I believe he's at a meeting out in some other state or somewhere, Pittsburgh or something. He's at an Austin administrator meeting or something like that, so he couldn't be here. Let me think. Yeah, those are two big have you driven through Naquag, Central Tree, Naquag, there where they made it one way?
Not since
No.
they made it one way.
Yeah,
When did they do that?
they did that, I don't know, a
Right
couple of
before
weeks
summer.
ago?
Right
Paint
before
going.
school
It
Yeah.
was right before,
What?
it was right before school began, they
Right,
did I saw
right.
the paint going in.
Yeah, they did it, and then
Wasn't
they
quite
put
sure.
parking
I
spaces.
Along the side.
Right,
I know.
have you tried to park in one of those spaces?
No, I've
Try it
run
sometime.
by it.
Try it sometime.
It
If
looked
you have
oddly
an
painted.
SUV, you're lucky to get in there,
Really?
yeah. So I don't know how that was done, but apparently it seems to be working okay, because you come up, you pick up your kids and you go out on Main Street. You know, you come in from Maple Ave, go up that way by the, and since nobody's living in the Harmony homes yet, they don't have they don't have to turn left, they come in, they have to turn right, so that's not a big issue. So I was just wondering if anybody had done that. I haven't heard anything bad about it yet. Maybe some people don't like it, I don't know. But it was, the problem was that people were parking along Main Street, which was illegal. But nobody was enforcing it. And then a couple of people complained. So then it became an issue of we gotta do something about it. And that's when they decided to make it a one-way coming up. So, okay. So yeah, I don't know about the rest of the road, Chris, but.
Yeah, I know. I know Glenwood is still in rough shape. I mean, it looks like they're just patching it up with patch, so the first frost we get, it's all gonna.
Going down in, you mean where you're at the bottom of Glenwood there? Where the
No,
parking
even
lots
just
are?
the sidewalk in front of the,
Oh.
in front of the school
Oh,
is
yeah,
all,
yeah.
I mean, it's just patch upon patch upon
Yeah.
patch.
I mean, we did the ADA improvements at the playground, you know? And again, I don't know if doing the sidewalks, because I've been doing this a while, is a question of personnel, or if it's a question of money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure why that hasn't been done yet. I can understand the roof, we got the carpeting coming up, I can understand that among the schools. But I can't understand the sidewalk, why that, so that's something, I think if we can, we'll get Austin here the next time and ask him, so he can get into a little bit more
Or
with
just
this.
wait for somebody to break an ankle and
What's that? Yeah,
get somebody.
what time is it? I don't wanna.
29.
Oh my God, we're close, we're at the end here. Doing good, we even had Seth here. Okay, any other comments or questions regarding the meeting? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, second. We had a motion to adjourn, second, no discussion. All in favor, roll call.
Lopez, aye.
Gracie, aye.
Second, aye.
Force and I.
Thank you very much, everybody, for
We got
being tonight.
7:30 on the dot.
Wow.